CigarClub family, what is going on today on the podcast? We're talking about your top 10 cigars of the year, ones that you all have voted throughout 2021. Every time you get a Cigar Club shipment, you scan that QR code and you rate those cigars. We keep track of all of that. And today, myself and Pew are counting down from 10 to 1. Who will be the number one cigar of the year? Who will be number 2? Who will be numbers 3 through 10? That's all happening right here on the Cigar Club podcast. Thanks for being here. Make sure you like this video, download it on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, and drop us a comment on the YouTubes. Enjoy the show. What is going on, Cigar Club family? It is top 10 cigars of the year time. Welcome to the Cigar Club podcast. I'm joined by the one, the only, at Purito. I'm doing it till it sticks.
Hey, listen, it's a slow process. It'll eventually, I don't really succumb to peer pressure, but it'll be there. We got to get people, we got to get the marketing behind it. You know, we got to get the name out there. It sounds better than it reads, which is my only hesitancy. So the more we say it, the more people will understand how to say it.
Yes.
And then we'll make the switch.
We're building a brand.
That's what we are. One step at a time. Building blocks.
Hey, today is one of the most anticipated shows. I think that me and Pew at least agree it's one of the most anticipated shows because not only is this a top 10 cigars of the year, but it's the top 10 cigars that each of you who are members of Cigar Club voted on, and you didn't even know.
Didn't even know. All year long, you've been secretly voting, essentially.
So basically, for those of you who are members of Cigar Club, every time you get your monthly box, you scan that QR code. When you rate that cigar, we actually look at that. And I think that's very important to note here. And what we've done is we've pulled the top 10 cigars that are the highest rated throughout all of 2021. Well, up until this point.
Yeah, until this day.
we capped it on December 5th. It's December 6th currently. We capped it on December 5th, pulled the data, and here are your top 10 cigars. We're going to go starting from 10 all the way down to 1. We're going to talk about each of them. And me and Pew obviously have seen the list. It's pretty exciting because they're cigars that we love quite a bit as well. And to see some of these brands on here that we're big fans of to make this top 10 is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking over the list right now. I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, I want to be surprised, but like all of these cigars, I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. Like I was hoping that there'd be one on there that I just wanted to expect that would sneak into the top 10. But, I mean, literally, this is such a solid list of cigars that, so solid, we've got 2 top 10 cigars. 2 cigars coming 10s. In at number 10. There we go.
We had one tie, and we weren't about to break the tie. We were just, you guys.
Oh, absolutely not.
They both got the equal amount of 5-star ratings this year. And it's also, I mean, it's pretty crazy. We haven't done the math on this, but thousands upon thousands of boxes of cigars have been shipped this year. And these 11 resonated the most. I think it's time we get into it. Pew, why don't you start us off, brother, with number 10?
Coming in at number 10, we have both the Bocock Habano as well as the recently released Sereno Eleanor Rose. I mean, already off to a great start. We all know, we've talked about it before, the Bocock cigars do hold a special place in my heart as my original homework, the original cigars that I smoked and kind of...
I think you actually went in there and rated that a 5-star like 4,000 times.
I did. If that was the case, then all 3 would be top 10. But absolutely love that cigar. Holds a special place in my heart. All 3 of the Bocock cigars are fantastic, but the Habano is just wonderful. And then, honestly, I'm not surprised to see the Eleanor Rose as a top 10 cigar. Just came out, a month and a half ago?
A month.
And already had
worth of voting.
Exactly. Already had enough votes to get into the top 10. I mean, just awesome start for just 2 amazing cigars.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the Sereno. If anything, I'm surprised that it's 10 and not anything higher. I know Pew and myself are doing our personal top cigars of the year on the next podcast to close out season 1. You don't want to miss that one.
Nope.
There could be some big hot takes. But
there may even be some overlap here too. I'm not. I'm just looking at it. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I think a couple of these will probably land on our top 10 or top 5.
I would have to agree. And Sereno is one of those cigars that since the first time I smoked it, especially in that eagle size, which I'm not a guy that reaches for a Perfecto. I'm not a guy that reaches for a Figurado or anything shaped. I continue to go right back to that cigar. So if you haven't had that one, try and find it.
It feels so classy. It feels old school, elegant. Just a great cigar. Like any time of the day, it feels like a good cigar. I was handing that cigar out at a wedding the other day, and it feels cool to hand it out. Like it just looks classic.
That might be the best wedding cigar of all time with the rose and everything.
Yeah, it's a great one. Bring us in number 9, Dave, because I'm excited for this one.
9. Another one that didn't get released until Q3 and still made this cut. We've got the Fiat Lux by Luciano. Wow. Yeah. What a cigar. This is one that I smoked for the first time at TPE this past year, where I met with Luciano. A lot of you know that a lot of you have got the cigar in a box. A lot of you have recently smoked the Luciano Cigar Club exclusive, the Short Dreamer. There's something that he does that is so distinct and so different with his tobacco that it just leaves a memorable experience on your palate and in your mind. But this is also one of those cigars that I didn't really know if people were going to love it as much as I did. It's very nuanced. A lot is through the retrohale. It's not big and bold and loud and spicy. It is nuanced and balanced and clean. And when we were pulling all these numbers, I'm like, oh my God, Fiat Lux is coming at 9. This is amazing. So many of these that are on this top 10, I'm like, I'm so pumped. I think I'm also most surprised with the number 1 cigar of the year, in a good way. But
stay tuned.
Well, stay tuned. Big fan of Luciano and everything coming out of there, and specifically Fiat Lux. Pew, what are your thoughts on the Fiat Lux?
I absolutely love the Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper that's on that cigar. I think I smoked that one day with some really cheap like Keurig coffee. I think it was at my parents' house, and it made the coffee taste better. I mean, I don't normally reach for Keurig, so I was kind of, just trying to get my morning caffeine fix, and I was like, all right, let's have a cigar. If this doesn't taste good with the cigar, I won't drink the coffee because I'm not going to ruin the cigar. Right. And it elevated bad coffee, and I think that speaks volume for just how good that cigar is. Anything coming out of by Luciano is always going to be delicious. He just has a mastery of, like you talked about, just how everything affects your palate, where it affects your palate, when it hits your palate. I don't know how he does it, and I don't know how you can have such a mastery over layering tobacco and choices of tobacco to get to a point of where it does everything that you want it to do. And I guarantee that this cigar does exactly what he wanted to do, with intention.
We learned, well, at TP, I remember vividly sitting with Luciano for hours at this hotel after the show, just smoking cigars, and he was handing me different blends, and I felt like I was in a blending seminar, talking a lot about the layering of leaves and how much that affects and different layering techniques to get different things out of a cigar. That Pew, when we were at La Isla, we brought that kind of stuff to Hostos too and said, hey, we're learning about this, and for this blend, we think it would be really cool to try that. And Hostos being like, yeah, let's do it. And I think up until that point, I had no clue people did that. You tell a factory owner, he's like, okay, if you want to do that, we'll do it. No problem. We do that all the time. I'm like, oh, well, we didn't know. We got no clue.
That was new to me.
But it's little things like that, I think, with brand owners or manufacturers, when there's that level of education and not just secrecy for secrecy's sake or for exclusivity's sake, we're all learning new things, and it makes me want to smoke more from Luciano.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But when you smoke that Fiat Lux, man, it is just a unique cigar. That's a cigar that you put all of these in a blind for me, and they're all the same size. I wish there was a way we could say, and they all look the same wrapper-wise, but that's impossible.
Close your eyes.
I could pick out the Fiat Lux.
I won't go that far because that's not my specialty. However, I can get why you'd be able to. Just the way that it plays around and the way that he constructs a cigar, I think, could easily be picked out by someone who has that ability and wouldn't be shocking as a result.
And keep in mind, that's coming from me who's 0-2 on blind cigar reviews. So maybe I couldn't, but I would like to think I could.
There you go. That's the important part. You give yourself confidence.
On to number 8, shall we?
Boom, drum roll. This is one that I know you were really excited about at TPE. I was really excited out to get it, and that's going to be the Casa Cuevas Patrimonio. We were, what was that? Back in August, I think, is when this shipped in boxes. I know I was super excited to get mine because I hadn't smoked it before prior to us getting in, and I know we talked after TPE. You and Griff both were just floored and super excited to get the cigar in boxes, and everyone else agreed with you. No shock there.
Yeah, no surprise to see Patrimonio on this list. We also just pseudo locked in a Patrimonio Cigar Club exclusive for next year.
Ooh.
I'm not going to say Lancero, but I'm going to say Lancero.
So not a Lancero. Is that the title of it?
Potentially, but also potentially not. This one to me is refined strength. It's strong to me for the profile that the flavor is, but it's enjoyable. And I always find that balance to be interesting. A lot of my favorite cigars are very flavorful with zero strength. Very seldom do I find a cigar that I think is strong, and I feel it, that I want to continue to go back to. And Patrimonio is one of those to me.
Yeah, this is one that we listed for our, as a pairing suggestion was Weller 107, and I think that was probably one of my favorite pairings that we had for this cigar. I really want, so this is a Honduran Corojo wrapper, and I would love to know, I can't think of any other cigars that I know off the top of my head that have Honduran Corojo wrapper on it.
Aladino.
See, I don't smoke much from them, so that wouldn't be...
I just know that they're known for Honduran Corojo.
Really? I think that's quite interesting. I mean, I think that's
the only one I know, though.
I was about to say, I think that's the only cigar that we shipped this year that had a Honduran Corojo wrapper on it, and I think it was great. I really enjoyed it. I would love to play around with more and smoke more Honduran tobacco as far as an actual wrapper is concerned, because this cigar was great. I loved it, and I want to know more about Honduran Corojo wrappers, so I'll have to take a look and see what we can find.
Yeah, I think it's also a 5-country blend, if I'm not mistaken, and that
you are correct.
Very challenging.
Yeah, you are correct. It's got Honduran, Ecuadorian, Nicaraguan, Peruvian, and Dominican in it. I mean, that's, to be able to balance all of that is incredible.
Crazy. Great cigar. Really cool story. I love the bands, the artwork on this one. It's an elegant presentation and one you can expect to see more of here at Cigar Club. Number 7. If you guys followed along last year when we released the Cigar Club Top 20 Cigars of the Year with Cigars and Leisure, this cigar was on there, but in a different size. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and say it can still be on this list because this is a new size.
Coming back. Yep.
That we only shipped this one in 2021. And it's overwhelmingly on this list. Like, people, you all have loved this cigar. We have loved this cigar. Number 7 by our good friends at Crowned Head Cigars. It's the Mil Diaz Edmundo. Of course it is.
Edmundo. I mean,
of course it is.
Of course. No shock that a Crowned Head Cigars, or excuse me, a Mil Diaz cigar made this top list.
With the amount of limited editions they're doing too, a Mil Diaz could make our list for the next 10 years in a row.
Hey, if they keep pumping them out as good as the originals, then absolutely, why not? I mean, we've all talked about how great the Mil Diaz line is. I love that they're coming out with new sizes. This might be one of my favorite sizes. It fits in the hand really well. It smokes really well. It has a fantastic burn time. I think I'll say
it's so Cuban. It's just it's such a classic size and profile that it's this part of like the romance of cigar history that just captivates me and makes me fall in love with cigars and brands and specific lines. And recently, yes, I've been diving into some more full-bodied cigars. I really have, which is unlike me, but it's getting colder and I'm just enjoying them more.
Yep.
But man,
I mean, it hits all of your notes that you love. That toasty, bready sourdough.
Mm-hmm.
It's got cinnamon, which really shines to me on the retro hail.
It's clean.
It's clean. You could smoke 2 of these back to back and not feel like you smoked a cigar. It lends itself to pairing anywhere well. For me, this is perfect for coffee, but you could go bourbon, you could go white wine, you could go red wine. I mean, the pairings are endless for this cigar. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's one of the rare cigars that it comes out great and it consistently is great across different sizes. Or, I mean, it's been a year now since the original release, and I think these are still smoking as good as the original production, which is not all that common, unfortunately.
Right. I big fan. No shocker to me to see that it made it back on the list for another year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I wouldn't be shocked. If you would have told me it made the top 10, I think I would have pushed it maybe towards the back end of it. So I guess I'm shocked that it's coming in above, 9 or 10 here, just because it's, came out in 2020. But yeah, I think that speaks volumes for how good the continued releases of Mil Diaz are.
I really hope to see this in CA's top 25. I don't know if we will. But to me, this is one I think deserves a spot in Cigar Aficionados. So
yeah, anyway, absolutely.
Bring us
so
to
coming in,
6.
Coming in at number 6, the Fratello Navetta Inverso. Beautiful cigar. Love the story. I love the concept behind it. We were literally just talking about this 2 days ago
with Omar.
That cigar is with Omar. That cigar is graham cracker. It's chocolate. It's marshmallow. It's all of that together. It's all of it in the individual components. There'll be times where you're like, oh, that's just mainly chocolate, or then it'll hit you with marshmallow, and then it'll hit you with all 3, and it tastes like the actual s'more. Killer. Can't speak enough about this one. If you haven't tried this one yet, you need to.
There's something,
and I think the wintertime is a perfect time. Sitting with this around a campfire, done.
I mean, what's also crazy is this cigar is made up of predominantly Nicaraguan tobacco. Mm-hmm. Power, strength, spices, leather, all dense. Oily.
And it even has some floral notes to it as well. There's a ton of flavor.
Right.
No. Yeah. This cigar does not hit you. It does not kick you back. I think they have it listed as a medium or full-bodied cigar, but I think this smokes more of a medium than a medium plus. Yeah, I agree.
It's fantastic. And in that same vein, let's move right to number 5.
Ooh, I know you're excited.
These being next to each other is coincidence, but it's also not. Number 5 cigar of the year, voted on by you guys, our CigarClub family, is the Alec Bradley Magic Toast.
Same vein as the Navetta Inverso. This cigar is listed as probably medium full, and I think it smokes straight medium. Anyone can smoke this cigar, even if you are I hate full-bodied cigars. You nailed it. Absolutely. I think this is one of the best footnote cigars, and I attribute that to the Honduran tobacco that makes up this one. To me, whenever I have a cigar that usually, everyone's commenting oh, that cigar smells really good. This cigar smells really good. Chances are there's probably some Honduran tobacco in there. I think it just has a beautiful aromatic and perfumey profile that I think just really lends and elevates the Magic Toast to be, what was that, top 5? No surprise there.
Top 5. I mean, we put the cigar in the box, and we put it in the people's boxes that don't normally say, yes, send me Maduros.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, all right, we have all smoked this. And the consensus is anybody can enjoy this cigar. It's almost a beginner cigar because let me just tell this quick story. This is straight up. 2 weeks ago, I was at a friend's house smoking a cigar on his porch. A guy was there who's like, I've smoked 1 or 2 cigars before in my life. What do you have for me? Before I could reach into the bag and hand him something, another guy I was with grabbed the bag.
That's a dangerous move.
And was like, you should smoke Magic Toast by Alec Bradley. And I was like, And it was in that moment I'm like, well, we've been telling people they should. But when I actually saw the guy and we locked eyes, I'm like, if he has a bad experience with this is going to be brutal. But I just didn't say anything. I'm like, okay, I agree, but I've never actually handed it to a person who said they've only smoked 1 or 2 cigars. This guy nubbed it. He nubbed
Ooh.
the cigar, and he's like, that was the best. He's like, granted, I've only had a couple. He's like, I've never took a pull of someone's cigar or one that I've smoked and said, wow, this tastes like something. This is more than smoke.
Yeah.
And
it's
he's
more
like,
than
this
tobacco.
is so dense and sweet. He's like, I would smoke this cigar for the rest of my life. And I mean, I agree. And for this to make number 5 makes total sense to me. I almost thought it was going to be even higher because we put it in so many people's boxes who said, send me mild, send me mild, send me mild cigars, that I knew when people smoked that, they'd be like, my mind is blown, 5 stars.
Yeah. I mean, it absolutely, I think there's always that one spirit. I'll jump to right to spirits, but like that one spirit that opens the door for you. Like for me, I remember having, E.H. Taylor small batch to really open up the world of bourbons other than, what I was normally drinking at the time. And I think Magic Toast does that for people who are maybe not enjoying Maduros, haven't enjoyed Maduros, or kind of put off by a stronger cigar or what appears to be a stronger cigar. And you can give a Magic Toast and then you're like, oh, now they start to dabble a little bit more in maybe some Maduros and some of those darker cigars and really opens up the world for what Maduros can be. And it's not always just punching you in the face with strength.
It's a masterpiece of a cigar that I think is the definition of like, you have a brand that is, it's a legacy brand. Alec Bradley's been around for multiple decades, and they know tobacco, period.
Yep.
And they know what tobacco works, and they can make cigars that alter your perspective on what a cigar can be, especially what a Maduro can be. Number 5, Magic Toast, really pumped for that.
Yeah, great one. So coming in at number 4 is the AJ Fernandez San Lantano the Bull.
Ooh.
I absolutely. So it's funny. I was putting together my list for cigars for our finale, and this cigar didn't make my list, and I'm shocked because after seeing it on there, the light bulbs went off. I was like, wow, I forgot how much I enjoyed that cigar. That cigar is fantastic. And I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe it was just the scenario of when I smoked it. I think I was just smoking it out on my front porch, but pulling a Griff and porch smoking. But I know Griff absolutely loves that cigar. Yes. And no surprise coming in at top 4 right there, or number 4 right there.
San Lantano Bull's another one that was a TPE buy. There's actually there's 4 cigars on here that we smoked for the first time at TPE.
Crazy.
And a lot of times you go to TPE or to a factory or to an event, and the cigar always tastes better there because the guy that made it handed it to you.
Exactly.
But the fact that we probably secured maybe 10 or 11 different cigars that trip, and 4 of them are in the top 10 is crazy.
Yeah,
AJ
I mean, that's super cool.
Classic. We ship so much AJ this year. We're such big fans of his expression of Nicaraguan tobacco, albeit a little more powerful than others. A lot of times more powerful than what my palate enjoys. The Bull is strong, but the Bull has a lot of flavor, and that Robusto is just... Talk about a cigar that just sits nice in your hand.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it does. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, he does pack a little bit more punch, and I normally don't reach for full-bodied cigars or medium plus to full. This cigar is great. Like, this is one that I would easily reach for multiple times in a week and not feel like I'm going to destroy my palate or just be kicked in the butt, depending. I mean, I'd smoke this cigar in the morning, which normally for a full-bodied cigar I wouldn't, but it just plays so well as you smoke it. It's clean. I mean, I think there's looking at these top 10 cigars, there is a very similar trait through all of them, and they're all clean. They all smoke really clean. They're very well constructed. They don't leave this huge powerhouse of an aftertaste on your mouth. And I like seeing the shift in that, because I think for a while there I wasn't smoking clean cigars, and I don't know, maybe I just wasn't smoking the right cigars, but a lot of these newer cigars that are coming out are all really clean on the palate, and I wonder if that's a purposeful approach in cigar manufacturing right now.
Yeah, you have to. Well, it's interesting because I don't know if these two have to be together for it to work, but in my experience, cigars that I find to be super clean don't have a lot of strength. The one that I would say has the most strength and is still clean is this Bull. Like,
yeah,
it's like this sweet leather kind of base note to it that doesn't leave like a campfire smokiness, mustiness. It's just like it's sweet leather. So anyway, San Lotano Bull, a banger. Man, I get the last two really good ones. All right, I shouldn't say the last two really good ones.
Whoa.
No, hold on. But I feel like I'm getting the ones that me and Pew both really enjoy.
There you go. That's
I'm excited
better.
I get to say them.
Better put. Yeah.
No, don't. The number 2 one is pretty exciting that this one made the list. But anyway, okay, number 3, the number 3 cigar of the year,
Take it from me.
Chosen by. Oh wait, is it my turn or your turn?
Oh, it's your turn. No. You're taking it from me. This is not my doing. This I didn't put this one on here. This is voted by you, the listeners.
Yes.
I had no hand in influencing this one.
Nor did I. But tune in next week. Number 3 cigar of the year, as so chosen by you, Cigar Club family, is by our friends Alec and Bradley. It is the Kintsugi. Kintsugi, not the Kintsugi. It's Kintsugi. Alec and Bradley Kintsugi. We've shipped it in Robusto and Corona Gorda.
Yep.
I fell in love with this cigar a few weeks ago, maybe it was, Pew. I had smoked it initially right before they were launching it, right when they launched it. And then, for whatever reason, I just hadn't smoked it in a few months. I went to light it back up a few weeks ago, and I could not put the cigar down.
I remember you texted me. You posted a photo, and you were like, I was just reaching for this one. You know, I knew I wasn't going to be able to smoke all of it, or you had time constraint, and you're like, I couldn't put it down. I think you pushed off a meeting even. Yeah.
I smoked the whole thing. Kintsugi is a flavor bomb with zero strength. And that part is, again, it's a company that understands tobacco, and a blender like Alec Rubin who understands tobacco more than certainly I know, and most likely certainly than I'll ever know.
Yep. And no shame in saying that. That's
no shame. Not at all. It is so, open up your spice cabinet and just start dumping them in your mouth. That's what the cigar is.
In the best way possible.
Yeah. Picture doing that and not being mad.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an expression of what a cigar can be in 2021. It is what I think cigars were 70 years ago, and where I think they took a pause with power and strength and full-bodied. The resurgence of cigars like this is why I love smoking cigars.
Yeah, I'm going to, little spoiler alert for next week. This does land on my list. To no one's surprise, if you've stuck around with us for this long, should be no surprise that a Kintsugi is going to make my top list for 2021. So I don't want to go too into detail with it, but I will say I will be very shocked and almost offended if this doesn't make CA's top 25 of 2021. I don't know if they go... Like if maybe it'll be on 2022, or I don't really know how they're listing.
Got it, and it's been out for a while.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Let me rephrase. Maybe in the next few years, if this doesn't make Cigar Aficionado's top 25, I'd be really shocked and probably offended because it's just that good of a cigar.
We even recently ordered a bunch of boxes for December to have for new members signing up. Sprinkled in some of yours who haven't had a chance to receive this cigar. That's a staple and will be a staple even next year with Cigar Club. Expect
Absolutely.
to see this cigar next year in one of your boxes, and especially if you haven't had it. I don't even recommend a pairing with this the first time you smoke it. I think you just need to enjoy it. It is so flavorful. Amazing cigar, amazing construction. Everyone I've smoked, perfectly constructed, and just a flavor bomb.
Now I want one. And
we got 2 left.
2 left. Coming in at number 2, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was another TPE cigar?
This was another TPE. Not only was it a TPE like the first time we carried that cigar, that was the first time we ever carried this brand.
Yeah. Coming in at number 2, voted by y'all, once again, the All Saints Solamente.
Ooh.
We have... We've got quite a following for the All Saints cigars. We've shipped out, I think, just about everyone in their line, and all of them just absolutely rave reviews. This one broke the top 2. I mean, come on, how cool is that? I love it. Not even top 5, not top 3, not top 10. All Saints Solamente, top 2. And I think the Solamente was the first one of that brand we smoked, like you just said. Absolutely fantastic cigar. Bigger ring gauge, too. Like, I love it.
58, dude.
58. I think that's the largest ring gauge that we shipped this year, but it doesn't smoke like a 58. Normally, I'm struggling to cut a 58 or a 60. This one, no issues. I tend to stay away because sometimes the shoulder comes off, or you'll have burn issues throughout with it getting too hot just because it's a larger diameter. Really good construction. I don't know what they did or their approach was to resolve those issues, but I've smoked a few of these and I've never had any of those construction issues, which I normally do on larger ring gauges cigars. But Ecuadorian Habano wrapper and then pretty much Ecuadorian binder and filler. Can't speak highly enough of this cigar. Not surprised that it made the top 10. Love it.
Yeah, it's a rich, full-flavored cigar. There is some strength, but I wouldn't call it like a super strong cigar, but it's more full-bodied than a lot of the other things on this list. The other thing I'll say about Solamente, and I'll say about All Saints, actually, if we were doing a top 20, you'd see 2 other All Saints in this list. Like,
does not surprise me.
All Saints crushed it. And the only reason I don't think the other 2 made the top 10 is because we shipped them later this year. Solamente we shipped first right at the end of summer, so it had enough time to get enough votes.
Yeah.
The other 2, St. Francis and Dedicacion, you guys have loved. If you're listening to this, you probably are saying to yourself, like, how did the other All Saints?
Why isn't that there? Yep.
Why haven't those been called out yet? But we're big fans of what Mickey Peg is doing, again, down in Honduras. And, Solamente, great cigar, one size. We were lucky enough to get our hands on it, and glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love seeing that. And newer brand, too, right? I love being able to come in as a newer brand and beat out these, Sereno and Crown Heads and Casa Cueva. Like, that's
AJ
incredible.
Fernandez, Alec Bradley. I mean, there's big names on this board. Hey, before we get to the number 1 cigar, quick call out to the new Ducks Unlimited cigars.
Oh,
Blended by Cigar Hum. I'm throwing this one in here because people have been pretty excited to hear about this. We've had a lot of traction with you guys that have heard we launched this, hopping on our website to buy these. About 6 months ago, when I think it was like my second trip to DR this year, it was in the middle of the summer. We had been talking with Ducks Unlimited about launching a cigar program with them. They wanted 3 blends to be created for their family, if you will, their members. There are over 1 million members. Their efforts in conservation are amazing. Their mission is something we really lock into here at Cigar Club and wanted to support. So obviously we're like, yes, let's do it. And of course we'll make it with Ostos. And 6 months later, they're available on our site right now at cigarclub.com. You can just go to the left side, click Ducks Unlimited. We've got Connecticut, a Habano, and a Maduro, all in Toro, all with predominantly Dominican tobacco that we used, that Hostos had forged for us. And these cigars are balanced and flavorful. Yep. And if you're a fan of Ducks Unlimited, if you ever find yourself sitting in a blind hunting duck, got to have one of these.
You got to.
The packaging is amazing. The cigars are amazing. Make sure you go online and check that out.
And I don't know if you mentioned this, you can get if you're undecided, you can get a sampler of all 3.
Yeah, it's $24. You can get a sampler of 3. We tried to make it as easy as possible. A portion of everything purchased for Ducks goes back to them into their organization. So anyway, we'll have the link in the show notes as well. Make sure you check that out. Okay, number 1 cigar of the year.
Bring us home.
I'm really excited about this. And I don't know
if this cigar's ever been on any of our lists, right? Like, who? Oh, surprise.
I don't know if there's a cigar that me and Pew have collectively talked about more throughout the inception of this podcast. I'm pretty sure it was on me and Griff's list last year. It was in the Cigars and Leisure top 20.
Yep.
We've talked about it all year because we ship it all year. I can't, but this one got so many 5-star votes. we had to put it on here as the number one cigar of the year, as voted by you guys. You've probably all smoked it, from our good friends at Sereno Cigars, the Wayfarer in Corona Gorda. Need I say anything more?
Yeah, we just cut. That's it. Wrap it up. Thanks for joining us. I mean, I would love, how cool would it be to figure out how many times we've talked about this cigar or mentioned this cigar over the last year.
96 times? I don't know.
Probably as many people as rated it top 5 we've probably talked about.
Yeah.
Can't speak about this cigar enough. You're probably all going to roll your eyes as I retell this story, but this is the one cigar that I constantly have a box of, and I think I've given more cigars, more Wayfarers out than I've actually smoked. And I've smoked a lot of Wayfarers. It's just, to me, it hits all the right notes. It's perfectly constructed. I can smoke this any time of the day. It can pair well with anything. And novices or beginner cigar smokers will enjoy it just as much as an experienced cigar smoker who's been smoking all their life. It does not surprise me. I'm super impressed that just like I was with the Mil Diaz, year over year, batch after batch, consistent with the profile and construction.
Consistency, sweetness, strength, balance. The wrapper, I always love just looking at the wrapper.
Love that wrapper.
And then the artwork is phenomenal, as always, from Carson Sereno. This is an awesome cigar. If you haven't had it, I don't know how you're listening to this. If you're listening to this podcast, you've had the cigar. And if you haven't, send us an email. We'll get you this cigar.
Oh, well, hold on there. Everyone's listened to have this cigar, so he's tallying it up there. No, seriously, though, this cigar is phenomenal. If you haven't had it, you need to have it. What have you done? We haven't... it's what? Gosh, what year did this come out? 2017? 2016, 2017? Around then. Get yourself a box.
It's remained
That's all I got to say.
The price point is like $8 or less.
Yep. It's insane.
Great cigar.
And
Cigar of the year, folks, as voted by you. This is not us. This is you. We put them in the box. You guys tell us what your favorites are. That's how Cigar Club works. It's how it will always work. And we've got a lot of new brands coming next year, and a lot of new lines from brands that you know, that you've never heard of. Lines coming out that will be in there next year, and I can't wait to see how the top 10 changes.
Compare. Yes, me too. I want to see if any of these squeak their way onto top 10 next year. Absolutely.
I mean, Wayfarer was on last year. It was on this year. Could it make it 3 years in a row? Now everybody's going to like blackmail it, or like,
I'm not rating this one.
Just put it to the top. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. Pew, give people a little taste of what we got coming up next week for the final episode of the podcast, Season 1.
Final episode, Season 1. We're going to conclude with our top 10 or top 5. We haven't decided yet.
I say 10 to you. Let's just go.
Let's do it. I've got mine right now.
I've got 10, yeah.
I've got 10. So top cigars from 2021 that we have smoked. So they don't need to be new. They're not new lines, but they're new to us. So the first time that we smoked them was within 2021. I'm excited. This is how I always do my top 10, and I think we talked about this last year as well. Like, new to me, it just makes it a little bit easier because we don't always get to smoke all the new releases, but there are certainly a ton of cigars that are just now getting around to smoke too. So I enjoy including them within my top 10 at the wrap up of every year, and I've got some really good ones. I'm gonna be shocked if we don't have 3 that overlap. But I don't know. I don't know what your favorite's going to be.
We could have 3 for sure. It's going to be fun.
I'm trying to think. I really
can't wait to shoot that one and also not know what yours are.
I know. I'm over here like, all right, what's Dave's top 10 going to be? Like, how is he going to decide on just one cigar within to land on? And I know it's tough for me. I have my top 10 written down, but I haven't ordered them yet.
Number 1 is going to be really tough to get to. I could lay you at 5. I could probably lay you at 3. That could be my number 1.
That's my issue.
I just got to go back through because every now and then, especially with WoW cigars, I'll jot down notes and I'll make like absurd calls on them in my notes app, and I just need to go back and see like which one did I really go full in and say. I might even have to smoke a couple of them like this week again.
Darn.
Just to relive them and see if any of them still give me that wow factor.
I need to look. We're going to take a moment here. I'm going to take a look at my top 10 and see how many I think you've actually smoked. 1, 2. Okay, well, you smoke 7 of my top 10 that I know of. So we may have 7 overlapping, but I'm really curious.
Wow, that is cool.
One of my favorite things to do, and kind of why I do Instagram too. Like, Instagram allows me to go back over the last year and take a look at kind of a photo-esque journal of cigars that I've smoked, and kind of can recall, oh yeah, that cigar was really, really good, or oh, I bought a box of that cigar, so I know it's going to make my top 10. But looking forward to seeing what you've got, what the heat you bring.
It's gonna be good. That's next Tuesday to close out what's been an awesome year, especially an awesome year here on the podcast. We've got more brand interviews next year. We've got more travel next year, more blending seminar, watching us geek out over learning how to make cigars. A lot of really cool stuff is coming up. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Thank you for always rating those cigars. That's why this is possible, because you guys go in, you rate these cigars. It supports these brands. They, so many of them reach out and say, hey, can you send us like all of our ratings from last year? We want to know what cigars are killing it. What cigars can we do better with? You guys have that input, whether you know it or not. Yeah,
they don't just disappear into the void. We look at them and we use them for really cool things such as this. So 2022, keep on rating, and really excited to see if any of these from 2021 make 2022, and all the cool new things from 2022. 2022. How many times can I say it here, Dave?
Wow, you
throw
said
in a couple more times.
I don't even. Where am I? Hey,
I felt the momentum on that one. We just had to keep going.
Yeah. Hey, next week we'll see you guys on the podcast as we unveil mine and Pew's top 10
Join us.
Cigars of the year. We'll see you next time. Happy smoking.